Have you ever wondered why history is filled with such terrifying torture methods? Many of these punishments were not just about justice, but also about making a strong example in public. Frighten people into obeying the rules of society. Unfortunately, those who were already marginalized, such as the poor and women, often faced even harsher punishments. This unequal treatment shows how power and fear have shaped the course of justice throughout history. Discover the dark depths of human cruelty as we look into the top 5 most horrifying torture methods from history. Death by sawing was a gruesome method of execution practiced in various cultures throughout history, including medieval Europe and the Middle East. The victim, typically a woman accused of witchcraft or treason, would be suspended upside down. A large, pointed saw would then be used to methodically cut through the victim's body, starting from the groin and moving upward towards the head. This method of execution was characterized by its deliberate slowness, prolonging the victim's suffering and terrorizing onlookers. Victims often remained conscious for much of the ordeal due to the rush of blood to their heads, intensifying their agony until death. Death by sawing served not only as a means of punishment, but also as a spectacle designed to instill fear through brutal public displays of state power. The Spanish donkey, also known as the wooden horse, was a barbaric device employed during the Middle Ages primarily to punish women accused of adultery or witchcraft. Throughout the 16th and 17th centuries, the device was used in several European nations as well as during the Spanish Inquisition. This instrument of torture consisted of a narrow triangular wooden board resembling a wedge or a triangular sawhorse. Victims were made to sit on the pointed part of the device with their full body weight pressing down upon their genitals. Oftentimes, heavy weights or additional objects were attached to the victim's legs, increasing the pressure and causing the sharp edge to slowly slice through their flesh. The primary purpose of the Spanish donkey was to inflict intense physical pain and to publicly shame and humiliate the accused. This method not only caused severe injuries, but also led to fatal deaths in many cases. Its use was intended to deter others from deviating from societal norms and religious beliefs, reinforcing patriarchal authority through fear and brutality. The breast ripper, also known as the iron spider or the spider's web, was a merciless tool predominantly used in Europe from the 14th to the 18th centuries. It consisted of 2 large metal claws, often heated, designed to tear through the flesh of a woman's breasts. The victim, typically a woman accused of adultery or bearing false witness, would have her bare breasts exposed to the claw-like prongs. These prongs would then be violently applied, either slowly tearing the flesh away or outright ripping the breasts from the woman's body. The breast ripper served as a means of punishing and publicly humiliating women who were perceived as violating moral or societal norms. Beyond the intense physical pain and permanent disfigurement, this method aimed to enforce patriarchal control over women's bodies and sexuality. The psychological trauma endured by victims and witnesses often believes to bring social and religious discipline. If you are liking our video, please subscribe to our channel to support us for future videos. Chinese water torture method involves dripping cold water onto a person's scalp, forehead, or face over a prolonged period. The slow, often irregular dripping causes mental distress and deterioration. The unpredictability of the drops induces anxiety and anticipation, making it a form of psychological torture. The term Chinese water torture was first mentioned in the 1884 short story The Compromiser, suggesting public familiarity with the concept by that time. victims of Chinese water torture often experience severe mental distress. The prolonged exposure to the dripping water, combined with the anticipation of each drop, can lead to anxiety, fear, and mental deterioration. The torture was sometimes conducted publicly, adding the element of humiliation to the psychological torment. Bystanders would watch, mock, and laugh at the victims, exacerbating their suffering. One of the common side effects of prolonged exposure to Chinese water torture is psychosis. Victims may experience delusions, hallucinations, and a loss of touch with reality. These psychological effects can be long-lasting and severe. The pear of anguish, also known as the choke pear, was an extremely evil instrument of torture used primarily from the late Middle Ages onward. Shaped like a pear, this metal device could be inserted into the vagina, anus, or mouth of the victim. When a key was turned, the device would expand, causing severe internal injuries and intense pain. Used primarily against women accused of adultery, the pear of anguish aimed to punish and terrorize its victims through physical damage. This tool often caused irreversible damage to sensitive bodily tissues, serving as a gruesome way to remind the consequences of deviating from societal norms. Beyond its physical effects, the pear of anguish brings a climate of fear and horror, reinforcing patriarchal authority and religious orthodoxy. Thanks for watching the video. Hope to see you soon. May God bless you.